All right, let's talk about it. We're going to crack the code on what is, for many people, one of the most feared parts of the IELTS exam, that agree or disagree essay. If you've ever felt totally stuck staring at that prompt, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're building a complete blueprint for success, step by step. I mean, have you ever felt that little jolt of panic when you see one of these questions? Trust me, you're not alone. It is such a high-pressure task, and what's scary is that tiny little mistakes can have huge consequences for your score. But, and this is the good news, there is a clear, learnable method to absolutely master them. So let's talk about this number, 5.0. What is that? Well, that's the maximum score you can get for task response if you misunderstand the question. That's it. It's your ceiling. You could have the most beautiful grammar, the most amazing vocabulary, but if you miss the core idea of the prompt, you cannot get above a 5. The stakes are just incredibly high right from the get-go. And that, of course, brings us perfectly to our first and, I would argue, the most important step of all, decoding the prompt. Seriously, before you even think about writing a single word of that essay, you have to be 100% certain you know exactly what they're asking you. This is, without a doubt, the single most common and most costly mistake I see people make. Exams are stressful, right? Your adrenaline is pumping, and it is so easy to just rush in. But you've got to force yourself to just slow down. Read the question once, then breathe and read it again. Make sure every single word registers. Okay, check this out. This is a perfect example of why that matters. Look at how one tiny little word changes everything. On the left, we have more choices. Okay, that's pretty neutral. It's just a fact. But look at the right side. Too many choices. That little word too completely flips the meaning. It implies a negative thing, right? It suggests that the number of choices has become an actual problem. And here's the takeaway. If your essay just talks about having more choices, but you never touch on whether that's a good or a bad thing, if you don't engage with the too many part, you haven't actually answered the question. You've answered a totally different, much simpler question. And that is exactly where those points just vanish. All right, so you've taken the time, you've totally decoded the prompt. What's next? Now it's time to build your essay blueprint. And please, listen to me on this. Planning is not a waste of time. It's an investment. It's what pays off in the end with an essay that's clear, logical, and scores high. This is actually a key insight straight from the examiners. The students who get the highest scores, they're the ones who spend 3 or 4 minutes just planning before they start writing. Think about it. Those first few minutes aren't about writing beautiful sentences. They're about creating a map for your essay. When you decide your opinion, your main points, and your structure up front, you've got a roadmap that keeps you focused the entire time. And here's the map you're going to use. It's the 4-paragraph structure. Seriously, don't try to overcomplicate this. It's simple, it's incredibly effective, and it is exactly what the examiners are trained to look for. You've got your introduction, 2 body paragraphs where you develop your arguments, and then a conclusion. That's it. Stick to the plan. Now, inside your introduction, there is one sentence that is the absolute star of the show. It's your thesis statement, and it has 2 critical jobs to do. Job number 1, state your opinion loud and clear. Do you agree, disagree, or kind of partially agree? And job number 2, it needs to tell the reader the 2 main reasons why, which you're going to explain in your body paragraphs. I really want you to think of your thesis statement like a contract you're making with the examiner. It basically says, okay, here's my opinion, and here are the 2 big reasons I believe it. It's a roadmap for them, so they know exactly where you're going. It's a promise, and the rest of your essay is you delivering on that promise, consistently. Okay, so introduction's done. Now we move to the absolute core of your argument, the body paragraphs. This is where the magic happens. It's where you take those 2 reasons from your thesis statement and really bring them to life, developing your ideas and persuading the examiner. And here's a golden rule I want you to write down. Never have a 1-sentence argument. It's so simple, but so powerful. See, you don't get points on this test for just making a list of ideas. You get points for explaining them, for extending them. A single sentence is just a claim. It's not a real argument until you back it up. This right here is absolutely crucial. It is so much better to have 1 strong idea per paragraph that you develop fully than to have, 3 or 4 weak ideas just kind of thrown in there. Remember this, depth over breadth. That is the name of the game in IELTS writing. So how do you build that depth? Easy.
Just follow this simple 3-part recipe for every body paragraph. First, you start with the topic sentence. This tells the reader your main idea for that paragraph. Then, you explain it. What do you mean by that? Why does it matter? And finally, you give a specific example to make your point real and believable.
And what's the magic number of sentences? Well, you want to aim for somewhere between 4 and 6. That's kind of the sweet spot. It gives you enough room for your topic sentence, a couple of sentences to explain it, and then another sentence or two for your example. It's the perfect length to fully develop one idea. All right, we've covered a lot of what you should do. Now let's switch gears and talk about what you should not do. Dodging these really common traps is like a final quality check that can save your score from dropping. So here they are, 3 of the biggest score killers. First, fake statistics. Second, overgeneralizing, making these huge sweeping statements. And third, ending a paragraph with an example but never linking it back to your point. Let's zoom in on a couple of these because they're really important. Okay, fake statistics. I know it can be tempting to write something like, a 2019 Oxford study found that, because it sounds so official, right? But please don't. Examiners see this all the time, and they see right through it. It's not convincing, and it actually makes you look less credible. It is so much better to just use a general example from your own knowledge or even your own experience.
Now, this is such a simple fix, but it makes your writing sound instantly more academic and intelligent. Look at the left. People who eat fast food are obese. I mean, is that true for every single person who eats fast food? Of course not. That's an overgeneralization. But look at the right. By adding one simple phrase like tend to, the statement becomes people who eat fast food tend to be obese. And just like that, it's more precise, it's more believable, and frankly, it sounds way more sophisticated. All right, we are on the home stretch. Let's talk about finishing strong with a confident conclusion. This is your very last chance to impress that examiner, so whatever you do, don't just let your essay fizzle out at the end. Your conclusion has one primary job: to summarize. That's it. The number one rule is do not introduce any new ideas. Keep it short and sweet. 1 or 2 sentences is perfect. All you need to do is restate your opinion and your 2 main points. But, and this is important, make sure you use different words than you used in your introduction. And hey, if you want to add a little extra polish, your final sentence can be a nice finishing touch. You could offer a final thought, maybe a suggestion, or a prediction about the future of the topic. It's not required, but it's a really nice way to leave a lasting, powerful impression. And there you have it. That's your complete blueprint to a high-scoring IELTS opinion essay. But remember, knowing this stuff is one thing, doing it is another. This is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. So I want you to think about this. Which one of those common traps are you going to focus on avoiding in your next practice essay? Because consciously working on these things, that's what turns this blueprint into an actual high score.